Hello everyone. So in this session we will discuss problem number 35 related to projection of solids. The question is a pentagonal pyramid 25 mm sides of base and 50 mm axis length rests on HP on one of its slant edges. Draw the projections of the pyramid when the axis appears to be inclined to VP at 45 degrees. So that is the question that they have given. So here if you just go through the question, the type of solid is a pyramid. So if I say a pyramid is a three-dimensional object and it is a type of solid which will be having only the base. So base will be made up of one of the polygon and you will be having the lateral face. So all the lateral faces are made up of the triangular faces and all the triangular faces will be inclined. So they are the slant triangular faces will be having. And if you consider the top face, so you will not be having any top face. So the cross section will become 0 and that point we call it as apex point. You will be having the apex point. To that particular apex point, so we'll be having the slant edges meeting starting from the base corner, and it will meet all the slant edges will meet at that particular point. So that point we call it as apex. So we will take the pyramid. So that is what the pyramid mean. So what type of pyramid we are having here is, so it depends upon the base polygon. So what type of polygon we are having at the base. So it is a pentagon. So if I say a pentagon, it will be made up of 5 sides. So base will be having the pentagon, so and it will be having 5 sides, and from each corner you will be having the 5 slant edges, and all the 5 slant edges will meet at the common point called as apex. And what is the size of this pentagonal pyramid? So that is what they have given. So base is 25 mm and the height of the pyramid, so the height is nothing but the axis length, so that is equals to 50 mm. So that is the dimensions that they have given. So let us solve this problem in 3 positions. The first position I call it as normal position, so where we have to identify in which plane the solid is resting and how it is resting, in what position it is resting. So if I just go through this question, he is telling that so a pentagonal pyramid rests on HP. The resting plane is horizontal plane, so that is what I have written here. And how it is resting on this horizontal plane is, so if you just read the question, so nowhere he is telling we are having 2 positions. So either the problem has to be side resting or corner resting. So if I just go through the question, nowhere he is telling that whether it is side resting or corner resting. So instead of that, so he is telling that it is resting on HP on one of its slant edges. So whatever this condition is there, so resting on one of its slant edges, that is your second position condition. So if he is telling the slant edge, so edge means, so that should be made up of the 2 corners. So one corner will be the apex, and at the base you must have the only one corner. So if I say only one corner, so then it is a corner resting problem. So simply we can remember like this. So if the object is resting on one of its slant edge, so the given problem is corner resting. So here the directly he has not given the resting position. So how do we take the resting position, whether it is resting on one of its sides or corners? So based on the second position condition. So second position condition, we have to take it with respect to HP. Why do we take it with respect to HP is because we have placed the solid on HP. Since we have placed the solid on HP, we have to take the condition with respect to HP. What is the condition? So it is resting on one of its slant edges. So if I say edge, so that should be made up of 2 corners. So if I need the corner at the base, so I should take the pentagonal pyramid as the corner resting problem. So that is what I have written it here. Okay, so now the pyramid, we have understood that the pyramid is resting on one of its corners. So according to our procedure, whatever the resting position that we are having, so that I will consider towards my right hand side according to our conventions. Okay, so we must obtain corner towards my right hand side. So that is what, so the resting position is. So I came to know that the resting plane and the resting position. So now let us take the 2 views, that is top view as well as front view in that particular position. So if you see the pyramid in that particular position from the top, it looks like a pentagon, and so all the base edges of the pentagon are visible. Along with that, so all the slant edges are visible in the top view. Okay, so slant edge is a edge that is starting from the base corner and it will meet at the common point. So that point we call it as apex point. So how does it look like in the front? So the front view, it looks like a triangle. So triangle because it is a pyramid. So all the lateral faces will be made up of the triangular faces. So how many slant edges you can see in the front view? That is 3 slant edges are visible. So on the base edge, the base of the pyramid is visible to you, and along with that axis line is visible. So let us see that in the while doing the construction. So this is what the first position is. So let us kick off with the construction part now. So I have taken the grid sheet here. So in this grid sheet, so I have taken the reference line that is called as XY line, and with respect to that reference line, I have taken vertical plane above the XY line and horizontal plane below the XY line. So because we are doing the problem in first angle of projection. So next, after that, what we have to do is, so we have to consider one reference point on the XY line, and we have to take the vertical line. So this line acts as my reference line, reference vertical line. So on that particular line, we have to take the size of the pentagon. What is the size of the pentagon? He has given 25 mm sides. Okay. So now we know that we have to place the pyramid on one of its corners. So what I should do first? I should obtain corners towards my right hand side. In order to obtain like that, so I'll take the side towards my left hand side. In order to obtain the corner towards my right side, I should take the side towards my left side. So you consider any one point on this vertical line and you cut an arc. So the point where it intersects, so you will get the second corner of the pentagon. So now if I say a pentagon, we know that the interior angle of the pentagon is equals to 108 degrees. So I have to take the angles now with respect to these two corners. These two corners act as the two vertices of the pentagon. So now let me take the protractor. So place your protractor along this vertical line at the starting point, the starting corner. So with this point as 0, I have to take 108 degrees. So I will mark one point at a distance at an angle of 108 degrees. Now you change the position of the compass. You take the another corner of the pentagon. So with this point as 0, okay, this as a reference, I should take 108 degrees again. So I need to count 108. So after getting two lines, 2 points at an angle of 108 degrees, so I need to draw a thin lines like this. This is one line and this is my another 108 degree line. So on these two lines, I need to obtain another two corners of the pentagon. Already we are having the compass that has been set to 25. So and you've cut the arc now with respect to the first corner, and with the same distance you place your compass at the second corner and you've cut one more arc. Where those 2 points will intersect, so we'll get the another two corners of the pentagon. These are the two corners that I will take. How to obtain the fourth corner? So with the same dimension of your compass, with the same length, so you've cut the arc now by taking your position of the compass here, and one more is with respect to this point. You cut an arc. Okay. So I'll get the fifth corner of the pentagon. Once after obtaining all the corners, what we need to do is we need to join all of them with the help of dark lines, because in the top view, so all the edges are visible. Base edges of the pentagon are visible to you. So hence I need to draw these lines as thick continuous lines. Okay, this is the final edge. Once after drawing the base edges of the pentagon, so we need to draw the slant edges. So in order to draw the slant edges, so we need to identify the center point of the cross section. I am erasing the extra lines. So how to identify the center points of the cross section? So this figure is odd sided figure. So if we are having the odd sided figure, we need to consider the bisectors. So okay, so what is a bisector? A line that is drawn from one corner to exact midpoint of the opposite side. So that we call it as a bisector. So what is the total length that we are having? So we are having it as 25. Let me represent that. So the length is 25 mm. Draw the dimension line. With respect to this, I should take it as 25. So now what I should do is I need to draw the bisector. So we know that is the value is 25. So half of this 25 will be 12.5. So by making use of your scale, so you can mark 12.5. This is one method. Otherwise you can bisect this line by taking the distance more than half and cutting the arcs. So with respect to this corner, and if you join the line, then you'll get this midpoint. You'll get that bisector easily. So that is the another procedure we are having. So I have marked 12.5. Now with respect to this opposite corner, I need to draw a thin line. So this is the line that I'll get. Okay. So likewise, so if I consider the bisector, another bisector, so half of that 25, so I'll get it as 12.5. So that is the point that we have to consider, and with respect to that edge, the opposite corner is this. You draw a thin line, so this is another bisector. So where these two bisector will meet, so that intersects, so that is the center point of the cross section. So this is the point through which the apex will be passing through it. Okay, so now let me draw all the slant edges. Slant edges means from each corner of this base I need to draw a dark line, so that should meet at the center point. So this is one slant edge that should be dark, so this has to be dark. This is another slant edge. This is my third slant edge. Here goes the fourth one, and finally we'll be having the fifth one. Only these edges has to be dark, so not the other portion. So this is not required actually, so I can erase it. So this is how it looks like from the top, the pentagonal pyramid resting on one of its corners. Okay, so now let us go with the front view. How to obtain the front view? We need to take the projection. We know that in the front view it looks like a triangle. Take the projection from each and every corner. If I take the projections from this point, it will also pass to the above corner. So I have forgot one thing here is, so the namings. Let me do the namings now before going to the next step. So I'll take the resting corner as A. So this is B. So this point will be C. So here comes the D, and finally E. So what about this center point of cross section? So O of O1. O will be the apex point from the top view that will be visible, and O1 will be the base of the cross section. That is the center point of the cross section of the base. That is not visible to you in the top view. Okay. So now, so he is telling that, so the axis length. So axis length, how much he has given? Axis length is 50 mm he has given. So that is the height of the prism. So axis length I have to consider. So I should take that 50 mm. So where you will be having this axis points passing through it. So what is the height? So I should take the height as 50 mm. So at a distance of 50 mm, I will mark one point. So through that point, so that will be the apex of your pyramid. You draw the boundary lines first. So it looks like a triangle. Okay, and the base will be visible. All the boundary lines, so they will be always visible. So now the slant edge, so B to O will be visible to you from the front. That should be drawn as thick continuous line. So draw it as thick continuous line. So next you will be having this axis. So whether I should draw this line as axis line or not. How to identify that? So if you observe this top view, so exactly below this center point of the cross section, I don't have any base corner of the pentagon. Since I don't have any base corner of the pentagon, so this will be visible as axis line itself. Okay, so that should be drawn as axis line. Axis line, you must draw it as thin chain line. So this is what we will get in the front view. What is the size of this? That is the height of the pentagonal pyramid. So height is how much? 50 mm. So please don't forget to do the dimensions. So now the naming. So this point will be A dash. So and apex point that is always visible O dash. So and here comes B and E. They are lying on the same line, and E is nearer to the XY line. So since it is nearer to the XY line, that should be placed inside the brackets. So here comes the base corner among these two, O and O1. So O1 is the base corner. So that is not visible because that is lying exactly in the center. Okay, that should be written inside the brackets. So now the last projection line is C and D. So how to write this is, so D is nearer to the XY line, so I should write this as C dash of D dash, because C point is visible when you see the object from the front. So this is about the first position. So I have taken the pyramid on HP now in the first position. So if I want to go to the second position, so what is the condition here? So second position is condition with respect to HP. So why we have to take it with respect to HP is because we have placed the solid in HP, hence we should take the condition with respect to HP. What is the condition in the question he has given? He has given that it is resting on one of its slant edges. So where do we have the slant edge here? So this is my slant edge. So this is the slant edge of the pentagonal pyramid. So you can observe, so edge means that should be made up of only two corners. The base resting corner is A and the apex point is O. So this edge we call it as a slant edge. It is not a face because only 2 corners are there. If I say a face, that should be made up of 3 corners at least, because all the lateral faces will be having the faces as triangle. So if you want to draw as a triangle, we need 3 corners. So here we are having only 2, so hence it is called as a edge. Okay, so now in this case the angle of inclination is not given. So what he is telling is, so you rotate this pyramid in such a way that the slant edge should rest completely on HP, that is it should touch your XY line. Okay, since we have taken condition with respect to HP, so any condition with respect to HP is visible in VP in the answer. So I should rotate this now. The slant edge should fall on this what line? That is XY line, that is my reference line. Okay, so in such a way we have to redraw the first position front view figure. So for that what I'll do is, so before taking the distance, I'll consider any one point on the XY line. Okay, that point will be your resting corner, that is your reference point. That point you call it as A dash. So with the help of this point A dash, so I need to obtain this apex point on the XY line again. Okay, what I should do, I should take the distance from A dash to O dash, place at A dash, place your needle leg of your compass at A dash, and you cut an arc. So you cut an arc on the XY line, and you see where that arc will intersect the XY line. So that intersection point will be your apex point, that is O dash. Now I can tell you that, so this is the slant edge that is completely resting on HP. So if the object is resting on HP, its front view falls on the XY line. That is what we are getting it here. Okay, so now I'll obtain the remaining corners. So first I'll go with the boundary corner. So this is the boundary corner I'm having. So place at A dash, and you cut the arc from here to here. Okay, next you take the distance from O dash to C dash of D dash, this slanted distance. Place at O dash, and you cut an arc. Okay, so where these two arcs will intersect, so this is the intersection point that I am getting. So where those two will intersect, so you join them. So this is the point, so I am getting here, so you join them here. Okay, so this point will be your C dash of D dash. So I need to obtain the intermediate points with the help of that reference point, that is A dash. Take the distance from A dash to B dash of E dash, place at A dash, and if cut an arc, so you'll get one point there. So next is the axis point, that is O1 dash. So place at A dash, and you cut one more arc on that baseline. So these points we call it as these arcs, intersection arc. So this point, so after A dash you will be having B dash of E dash, so that we should obtain it here. So B dash of E dash, that is the point. So after this point I am having O1 dash, you write that inside the brackets, and you draw the lines as it is, as you are having in the first position. So nothing has to change here. Okay, so next comes the axis line, so that should be drawn as thin chain line. So this completes the front view. So let us take the projections in order to obtain the top view. So extend the projection line from each and every corner. From the base you extend first. So this is the projection lines that I am taking. So I am taking the horizontal projection lines at the beginning itself, because I'll get only few lines. So next comes from C. So next comes B. I'll take the projections like this. Okay, now I'll go with the vertical projections. So you take them accordingly. So where it will intersect exactly, to that particular point you take. So the projection from the axis point, that is O1. So next comes the projection from C dash of D dash. Take the projections. So finally we are having the projection from this apex, that is O dash. So now let me do the namings. So A and A dash intersection, you will get it as A point, that is the top view. So next comes B. So this is point is C. So you are having D here, and finally E. And this point is apex O, and you will be having O1 at the base. So once after doing the namings, what we are supposed to do is, so we have to draw the boundary lines. So how to draw the boundary lines is, so we are having the naming chart here. So with respect to this, let us do. So we should check the bonds, whether from each corner of the base we must have 3 lines. So if I place the scale between A and B, so do we have bond between A, B here? Yes. So if it is there, so I can place that scale between those 2 corners. Once after placing the scale, you check the remaining corners, whether do we get it on the same side of the scale or not. If we are getting the remaining corners on the same side of the scale, so I call that line as my boundary line. So if I draw all the boundary lines as thick continuous lines, always boundary lines has to be drawn with thick continuous lines. If I join all of them, so it forms a closed loop here. So next comes O to E. So this we have discussed in so many problems already. So let us do it fast. So A to E is the last boundary line. So finally it forms a closed loop. So this is the closed loop that we will get. So once after identifying, after obtaining this closed loop, all the boundary lines as thick continuous lines, I need to identify the hidden corner. So if you see this object from the top, so which is the corner that is nearest to the XY line? That is A dash. So that is not visible. That acts as the hidden corner in the top view. Okay. So now with the help of this corner, so I should take the naming chart. So this will act as the hidden corner. With respect to this, I must have 3 lines. So which are those 3 lines? AB, AE and AO. Because from each corner of the base, so we must have 3 lines because solids are 3-dimensional objects. So now from point A, already AE is drawn and AB is drawn. So because they are the boundary lines has to be visible always. Only the third edge is missing. So only that missing edge has to be drawn as the dotted line. So that should be drawn as hidden line. Hidden lines are always represented with thick dashes line. Okay, so only one hidden corner was there. So from this hidden corner, 3 lines are done. So that satisfies the condition. Now we have to move to the another corner, other remaining corners. So and we have to check the condition that from each corner we must have 3 lines. If I consider point C, I don't have a single line starting from point C. This is corner C. So I need to draw all the 3 lines as what type of lines? So that should be drawn as thick continuous lines because this is not my hidden corner. Only dotted lines or hidden lines we will get from the hidden corners, not with the remaining corners. So hence, so this should be drawn as thick continuous line. This must be drawn as thick continuous line. Okay. If join 3 edges with respect to point C as well as point D. So all the lines has to be drawn as thick continuous lines. So this is what we will get here. Okay. And finally the axis, you represent it with thin chain line. So this remains as axis itself. Okay. So now this completes the second position top view. So that is the condition with respect to HP we have taken. So now let us go with the condition with respect to VP. That is my third condition. So let me explain that. So condition with respect to VP. So we have to identify what is the condition with respect to VP here. So first we need to identify whether the angle of inclination has been given or not. So here it has been given. So what is the angle of inclination? 45 degrees. Okay. So next we have to understand. So what is inclined to VP at an angle of 45 degrees? So if you just go through the question, so the axis appears to be inclined, means the appearing axis or the apparent axis is inclined to VP at 45 degrees. So now let us come to the construction part. So in this first position and the second position, so where do we get the apparent axis or the appearing axis? So we will get that in the second position. So this is my appearing axis. Okay, and where do we get the true axis? We will get that in the first position front view. So now, so according to the procedure, so we have to redraw the second position top view in the third position. So I need to rotate this figure to the what are the angle of inclination that has been given. Okay, so here he is telling that the appearing axis, we need to redraw the same figure, and he is also talking about the same figure. So he want to tilt this axis line, appearing axis or the apparent axis line, to an angle of 45 degrees with respect to VP. Right now how it is there? So this is parallel with respect to VP, it is there. So next what we have to do, we have to rotate this shadow or the apparent figure in such a way that the axis O01 axis will get inclined to VP at an angle of 45 degrees. Okay, so always whenever you redraw these pyramids, so according to my procedure, so in order to make our solution easy, I'll always place the apex point nearer to the XY line. So that is what I'll do. Okay, so now I have taken my 45 degree line here. So I'll come to the third position. So third position here, I have taken 45 degree line. So this angle of inclination is 45 degree line. I have taken from right side to left side because so axis is inclined to VP. So you can take from right side to left side also, but see to that, so the figure has to be rotated less than 90 degrees. So once after taking 45 degree line, so we have to take the appearing axis here. So O01. So take the distance from O to O1. So this is my appearing axis. You pick any one point on this 45 degree line and you cut an arc. The point where it intersects, so the starting point is O, apex point, and the point where it intersects, so that point is O1 point. So now I am having this axis inclined to VP at an angle of 45 degrees. So with the help of that, I need to obtain all the remaining corners. You can observe here. So if I extend this axis line little bit outside, I'll get point A. So what about the remaining four corners? So EB is there on the same line and CD is there on the same line. So they are exactly perpendicular with respect to this axis line at some points of intersection. The point where it intersects, I will give the namings with numbers. So this point is 1. So this point is 1. And here I will get, here this is not required. So and this is my point 2. So I'm having 2.1 and A. So I need to obtain all these three corners. So in between the axis. So what I'll do is, I take the distance now from O to 2 first. I'll take all the dimensions with respect to O itself. So take the distance from O to 2. I'll place at O and I'll cut an arc. To obtain which corner? So I'll get the point 2 here. So once after getting this point, so what I'll do next is, I'll take the dimension from O1 is done. So I'll take the dimension from O to O1. 1. So take place at O1 and you cut an arc like this. The point where it intersects, so that point we call it as 1. So next finally you'll get the distance, you'll get the point A. If you take the distance from A to O, place at O and you cut an arc to obtain which point? A point. So now this point is A and this is 1. With respect to 1 and 2, I need to draw 90 degree lines because EB and CD are perpendicular with respect to these 2 points. This line, that is axis line, what we are having it on the 45 degrees. So you mark one 90 degree point here, and with respect to point 2 also, by placing your protractor, so you mark one more 90 degree point. With respect to these 2 points, what we need to do is, we need to draw the lines passing through this point 1. You extend it on either sides. Okay, with respect to point 2 also, you extend the lines on either sides. Okay, once after extending the lines, what we should do is, so we need to take the dimensions from 2 to D. I'll take the dimensions from 2 to D first, and that dimensions will be same from 2 to C also. Place your compass at 2 and you cut one arc, so you'll get point D. With the same dimension, you cut the another arc below. So now I'll get 2 points here. So one point will be D and the other point will be C. So next you take the dimensions from 1. So above 1 we are having E and below 1 we are having B. So with that dimension you cut the arcs. So you cut the arcs above as well as below. Okay, I'll get 2 points now. So this point will be E and this point will be B. So now I have got all the namings in the cyclic order. Now I need to join all of them. So as we are having it in the second position top view. First I'll draw all the boundary lines as thick continuous lines. So because all the boundary edges are always visible to you. So next comes B to O. So E to O is my final boundary line. So it forms a closed loop. So once after doing that, so we know that point A acts as my hidden corner. So from point A we must have the hidden line. So that should be drawn as thick dashes line. That is starting from A and it will meet at point O. So once after drawing that, so I need to draw the remaining corners, from the remaining corners we must have thick continuous lines, because all those lines will be visible to us. So this is one, and finally we are having from B and again D2 here. So this is the edge, and these are the slant edges B2O, that is also visible to you from the top. Okay, so this is how we have to redraw this pentagonal pyramid. From second position we need to bring it to third position. So inclined, the axis, appearing axis inclined to VP at an angle of 45 degrees. Okay, so now this completes the second position top view. Third position top view. Let us go with the third position front view. So in order to do that, so I need to take the projections, the horizontal projections and the vertical projections from this third position top view, and horizontal projections from the second position front view. So which one among these two you will take first? So we have to proceed with the horizontal projections, because I'll get only 3 horizontal projection lines. If you take vertical projection lines, totally you will get 7 lines. So which is less among these two? So you take that projection line, and when you extend the vertical projection line, you extend to the required position. So by considering the namings of this second position front view. So let me do that now. I have taken the horizontal projections and vertical projections, and I have done the naming accordingly. So just like this. So from where A to A dash, so we will get the point A dash because it is my front view. So now let us see how to draw the final step. So first and foremost thing, so once after doing the namings, the next step is, so as you did in the second position top view, we have to draw all the boundary lines as thick continuous lines. So the same procedure has to be applied here also. So how to identify is, so first I'll place the scale between the two corners, that is A and E I'll consider. So we are having the bond between A and E, so hence I can place the scale between those two corners. So if I place the scale between those two corners, so I can say that, so with respect to this AE, I am getting all the remaining corners on the same side of the scale. So then hence this line will become my boundary line. So this should be drawn as thick continuous line. So next boundary line is this slant edge AO. If I place the scale between A to O, all the remaining lines we are getting it on the same side of the scale. So hence this is also the boundary line. All the boundary lines has to be drawn with thick continuous lines. So if I join all these boundary edges, it forms a closed loop. So from again C to D, so this is my boundary edge, or that is visible to you, and finally D dash to E dash, that is D to E, that is also visible to you, and if I join the line from D to E, it forms a closed loop. So once after doing this much, so what we need to do is, we have to see the top view figure now in the third position. So this is the observer. So to this observer, so I have placed the apex point nearer to the XY line. This apex point is not visible to the observer. So what will be visible to the observer? The base of the pyramid will be visible. So the base means this pentagonal face is visible to him. So that is visible in the front view. So hence that should be drawn as thick continuous line in the front view. So let me complete that pentagon now. So that should be drawn as thick continuous line because that face is visible to you. So now you take the distance, place the scale between A dash to B dash, and the fifth edge of the pentagon is B dash to C dash. So those two lines were missing, so I drew them as visible lines because the complete base is visible to you. So once after doing this, so we need to identify the hidden lines, so hidden edges. How to identify is, the two procedures I'll follow. Two procedures, I'll explain both the methods. So whichever is easy to you may consider that. So now we are having the pentagon. So this is first method. So from each corner of the pentagon, we must have 3 lines. So if you observe this corner A dash, so we are having 3 lines already. A to B is there, A to E is there, and A to O is there according to the naming chart what we have considered. So now if you consider point C, again we are having 3 edges, the condition will get satisfied. But if you consider B, D and E, we are having only 2 edges passing through it. The third edge is, the slanting edge is missing from all those 3 corners. So now if I try to draw the slant edge from E dash to O dash, okay, if this slant edge will pass inside the pentagon, inside this pentagonal surface, pentagonal face. So if the line is passing inside the pentagonal face, so that line should be drawn as the dotted line. That is not visible to you because it is lying behind this surface. Okay, so hence that is not visible to you. So likewise, so if I draw a line from D dash to O dash, that is also passing inside the pentagonal surface, so that should be again drawn as the hidden line because it lies behind that. Okay, and the finally if you consider B to O, so it is not going anywhere inside the pentagon, it is just passing outside the pentagon, so that